What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Raw Retro review. Today we are doing the July 4th, 1994 edition, episode 69. Hey, let's go. So, the 4th of July special for Monday Night Raw. Last year they made Lex Luger a top contender on this episode, so let's see if they make anyone a top star today. The first match was Tatanka versus Jeff Jarrett. You know how I skip all Luger matches, even if it's not a jobber match? Well, I think Tatanka might be next. I'll make my decision after SummerSlam. Every year, I'll add a new addition to this skip list. Jarrett and Tatanka fought outside at the end of the match. They are able to get in the ring, but they go back to the outside, and this time Tatanka gets counted out, and Jarrett wins. Jeff grabs the mic and starts talking crap about how he wins and all his wins are fair and square, and calls out Savage, telling him that he might take a victory via countout, but not him. Meaning, Randy Savage would take a countout victory, but Jarrett wouldn't. Then he tells the ref to restart the match, and I guess the ref's decision isn't final, so he restarts it. I don't mind that they did this, but why for this match? And not, remember when Luger got counted out in a qualifying match? So they don't put any emphasis on which matches actually matter or are more important than others. Doesn't make any sense. So, in the restart, Jerry continues to put the sleeper hold on Tatanka, not only putting him to sleep, but everyone watching as well. Tatanka eventually gets his comeback going, Irish whip reversal, but Tatanka gets the leg up and hits a DDT for a near fall. Double J tries to leave, but gets caught and put back in the ring. A top rope tomahawk, but Jerry gets the foot on the rope. Jeff again leaves the ring, but Dink is behind him and squirts him with water. As Jeff goes to grab him, Doink runs out with a bucket of water and chases Jarrett back in the ring, where Tatanka rolls him up and wins the match. So Jarrett's plan fails as he loses the restart, so he technically never beat Tatanka. But it looks like Jarrett is in a feud with Doink and also Randy Savage. I remember a couple weeks ago he got attacked by Savage and I thought that was it, but he called him out again on this episode, so who knows where that's going to go and when is this Doink and Jarrett feud going to be over. Then the 123 Kid is set for a WWF title match next week, so he is the guest on this edition of the King's Court. Lawler makes fun of his size as he presents him when the Stickman gets in the ring. Lawler says that he'll be rooting for the Kid because he hates Brett. 123 Kid has respect for Brett, so he's not going to take any dirty pointers from Lawler on how to beat Brett. Instead, he's going to give it 110%, and if Brett makes a mistake, he'll capitalize on it and become champion. The King tells him that it's fine, but if the Kid wins, he promises to do it for him. The Kid says that he's not doing anything for him. If he's going to do it for anyone, it'll be for the fans. I remember this match being one of the better ones on Raw, so I'm looking forward to next week's episode. I think the last good match on Raw worth watching by itself was the Kid versus Shawn Michaels at the end of last year. It ended with a DQ or something, but it was still good. Moving on, Jim Neidhart comes out for a squash match and Owen Hart is in his corner. The power slam for the win, and they continue the momentum for their cause to getting Owen a title match against Brett. Next up, Duke the Dumpster Drozy wins a match with a running elbow drop on some jobber. Then we see the iconic clip of when the hitman is walking out of the hallway and the little kid screams out. It's another one of the new generation ads, and I don't know if it's just WWE because they replayed it so many times, but it gave me goosebumps when I heard this. Then Ted DiBiase comes out next with The Undertaker. They show shots of the crowd who can't tell if it is or not. This Taker has his head down at all times, so his hair is in the way, and you can't really tell if it is or not. Especially if you were watching on one of the box TVs at 360p back in the day of the early 90s. There was no way that you could really tell. I did get a chance to hear part of the crowd chanting, "He's a fake," so it looks like some of the marks are catching on. Taker gets the win, and they go to put the jobber in a body bag. Paul Bearer makes his way to the ring and starts waving Taker to him. Taker turns to DiBiase, and it looks like he was gonna attack, but instead he just turns his attention back to Paul Bearer. DiBiase pulls out a wad of cash, but Taker ignores him, so Ted pulls out more money, and this time Undertaker goes with him. If this is all supposed to be a setup, wouldn't DiBiase be pissed off at this fake Undertaker for wanting more money after he's already agreed to a set amount? But the fake Taker made a smart decision. He noticed that DiBiase was willing to pay more, so he dragged him along by making it seem like he would go with Paul Bearer. This didn't make any sense in terms of if you break it down, because Paul Bearer knows, or he says that he knows, that that's not the real Undertaker. So why was he coming out to try to take him, to bring him with him, if he knew that wasn't him? I guess he was proving a point. Alright, I get that from Paul Bearer. But why did the fake Undertaker, or why did Ted DiBiase offer the fake Undertaker more money? If anything, he would have been like, you know what? I'm a smart businessman. This isn't worth it. I'm not spending more money on you. If you want to go with Paul Bearer, go ahead. But he knows that you're a fake. I know you're a fake. You're not gonna last long. So I don't understand why Ted DiBiase was made to look like an idiot, because we know where this is going. This is the fake Undertaker, and he was offering him more money than he had already promised to give him. I guess you can say you're guessing that this fake Undertaker has already been paid off, right? So why is Ted DiBiase being an idiot and falling for this, knowing that it's the fake Undertaker and knowing that he's already paid him a set amount? Doesn't make any sense if you really break it down. Next up, we have Lawler catching up with Ted DiBiase backstage and asks if he can be his guest on the King's Court. Ted doesn't really want to do it, so the King suggests that they do it wherever he wants instead of doing it in the ring. DiBiase accepts, so they're going to be doing it somewhere else. I'm actually interested in seeing this King's Court for the first time since its debut. Next week could be a decent episode depending on where they go with this, plus the match between 123 Kid and Bret Hart. So that was it for this Raw. Let's get to the awards. For the best moment, I'm going to say it was the stuff with DiBiase, The Undertaker, and Paul Bearer. Just them moving this along. It might have some plot holes in it, and now fans are realizing that it's not the real Undertaker, so let's see how they play this out. For the worst moment, I had Jeff Jarrett wanting to restart the match only for him to apply rest holds and get beat with interference. Just have that be the end of the whole thing. Why restart it? For the wackest performer, I think I'm going to give this to Jeff Jarrett. His match against Tatanka was boring, and he is just tough to listen to on the mic with his whining and bitching. If not for the mic work, I would have chosen Tatanka. I would have blamed him for the match being bad, but a guy like Jeff Jarrett should be able to carry his opponent, so he's going to get the wackest performer. For the stand-up performer, for this one, I can't really think of who to give it to, so I won't. Not saying everyone was terrible, but like the award says, who stood out, and nobody really made me pay more attention to them to make this show a little bit better. So, with all that being said, I think this episode will get a good grade. Again, like I always point out, whether or not I enjoyed something and whether or not something belonged on the episode are two different things. And everything for the most part had a reason to be on the show. While they can always do more in terms of having more star power, I understand it's only a 1 hour show, so they can't really make every minute entertaining. They do have to slow play certain things, and that's what they kind of did with this episode. So, with that being said, that's it for the review. I'm out.